The internet can totally see you now. To stop. Okay.
Is that what it actually says?
Yeah. That's what.
That's quite good.
That's totally what they actually said.
That's unbelievable.
So, hello everyone.
Hello.
Today, just 2 mails for us today.
It's almost a Christmas tradition that Anouk vanishes for one episode. I mean, last year it was bought with the Bonnie episode. Anouk was in London. This time is more related to the episode. Today we are talking about Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yes, we did an Odyssey a while back. It was Super Mario. Now it's Assassin's Creed.
That's very true. I'd almost forgotten about the Mario episode. That was with Laura.
Yeah. So I was wondering, and then I can ask right away, and you can go as long as you want. What's your backstory with that franchise?
With Assassin's Creed?
Yes.
So Assassin's Creed for me, I think, can you hear that in the background?
Yeah.
Anouk, have you got headphones? Yeah, I think there's also in my bag or like plug-in ones. It's just because we can hear you. We can hear the film. We can hear the film on the background of the podcast.
If you close the door, it should be okay.
Or just close the bedroom door.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. No worries.
We're also closing ours.
We'll close ours as well, so you might be all right. That's an experience. That won't be in the recorded episode. That's just purely for the live people to enjoy. That was Anouk is actually here. The reason Anouk isn't on the podcast will become apparent when we get into the actual content. But Assassin's Creed for me started. I think I rented the first one from Blockbuster all those years ago, wow. And I found it boring because it was the same mission over and over and over again. But then at some point, I picked it up again at Blockbusters and finished it. And then from Assassin's Creed 2, I was really into it, going forward throughout all those games as well. And my mum was actually quite a big fan of Brotherhood, which was the one in Rome, because my mum is a big, massive fan of ancient Rome. And fun fact, we went to Rome for my mum's 50th birthday, I believe, and I was able to navigate through Rome because of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. So I have a good affinity for this game. So I've been playing them. I don't think I've actually missed one. The only one I missed briefly was the jump to the next gen console, but when I picked up the Xbox One, I went back and got it. So I've played all of them. What about you? What's your connection here?
Well, I missed it a bit more than briefly. So basically, I started on a PS3, the first one. I loved it. Even after the campaign was finished, I came back to mindlessly assassinate random people from the roofs.
And collect all the feathers and flags and stuff like that, right?
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I'm not entirely sure. The main idea was to come and kill random strangers, jumping on their faces. I played all the ones that followed up until the moment where there was a divide. So the PS4 was released, and it's usually the games released in November every year. And at one point, there was 2 games released in the same year, one exclusive to the PS4, which was Unity, and the other one was Rogue, I think. I don't remember.
Yeah, that was Rogue. It was the one in before Assassin's Creed 3. During the 100 Years' War against the British and the Spanish was the 2 factions. That was the one you were a Templar in. That was the only slightly different one.
Okay, I also played some on iPhone, but basically I was so annoyed with the fact that you were left no choice but to buy a new console to play the new one, which apparently, actually eventually purchased it, so we have it here, but Unity, it's a French Revolution, as I understand it, and I never played it.
It's okay. It's worth playing. I mean, the problem that Unity had, and we will talk about, because this Odyssey launched with the same kind of problems, and it has been ever since. Unity. Assassin's Creed games don't launch without having bugs or being like half finished. And Unity was not finished. They needed an extra year. And it's probably because of Unity that we now have both Origins and Odyssey being a bit more advanced, because that game was so... you couldn't play it. I mean, I got it at Christmas the year it came out, and by then, I remember on the day I installed it, you had to install like a 45 gigabyte update to fix the game. Now, if your update file is 45 gigabytes, that's not an update. That's a new game. Yeah. That's larger than some games.
I did play a lot. I think that was the one just before, right? Black Flag. I played this one a lot.
The pirate one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Assassin's Creed Pirates.
So basically, I only got to it back just now, like with Assassin's Creed Origins last
Yeah.
year. But well, actually, via my brother's console, because I still was into the middle of the boycott. But then this year came along God of War, which looked great. So I actually got a PS4 Pro just for that, and I actually, in the end, actually purchased Origins via my account, but I still didn't have a console. Now I have the console to play.
You did play, because when you moved in here, last Christmas I picked up the One X, and I got Origins when it came out on the One X. So I don't know. I think you played brief. You must have played a bit. Or did your brother have Origins by that point? Because I remember you did have a wee bit of a go on Origins on the Xbox One.
Yeah, I created an account on your Xbox, but yeah, I did not play that much. I think I played on the course of a week or so on my brother's console.
Yeah, back in France.
And as I had Plus, all the save was transferred. So
we should probably start off with the setting and the story. So ever since Syndicate, which is the development team that made Syndicate, also made this game, the story in this one is very much not really an Assassin's Creed game as such. This one just kind of plays out as a quest, like becoming your own hero. Very much and if we were looking at 7 plots, this one is an Odyssey. The character goes on a journey. There is kind of a quest. I mean, you're kind of trying to find your family, but the game plays a bit with that. But because there are so many things going on, I feel sometimes that gets left, and at the end of the game, where you're left with kind of left open ended. So the ending of the game is a bit hit or miss. However, while playing the game, I was quite invested in what was going on. I enjoyed my time in ancient Greece, in the Peloponnesian War, I should say, of ancient Greece. We're not going Heracles and Jason, we're after that. We're during the Peloponnesian War.
Well, the thing is that for the first time in a franchise, and you had the experience of a certain game I'll mention in a minute that I didn't have before, but now I have it.
Right, yeah.
You were used to the kind of Witcher 3 RPG stuff.
Yeah, which the guys who made this heavily mentioned that they were inspired by the Witcher 3 and games like that. I played The Witcher 3. I think I picked up when it was on a deal, like the Game of the Year edition, which had all the DLC. And I played The Witcher 2, and I loved that game. It was a bit more limited, but it was fun. It took me a while to get into it. But The Witcher 3 was unlike anything I'd ever played. And me and Anouk, in our old flat, would just sit and play this game together, and because the story was so involving and it was everything there. The reason Anouk is not on this episode is because Anouk didn't watch play, because Anouk's not really a gamer. You might have seen, if you have us on Patreon, me and Anouk playing a bit of Overcooked, the multiplayer chef game, which is really fun. And we play like Mario Kart and party games together. But that's kind of the length of Anouk's gaming. She doesn't really play actual games, but she does watch. For example, she's really enjoyed being part of and experiencing God of War, the story. And we've played other games like Outlast and Alien Isolation, which we've mentioned before. But there was no investment here for Anouk to play through Odyssey. Mainly because the story is, in gameplay sense, the story is so disjointed because of level progression and the length of the game. With where The Witcher 3 kind of works, because there are so many side quests, but they're so integral to the story. For example, if you've played The Witcher 3, the story of the Bloody Baron, connected to the plot of finding Ciri while you're in Velen, is so interchangeable that you forget that the Bloody Baron stuff is a side quest. There's a point where he tells you what happened to Ciri, and you can leave, and that you don't have to finish that story, and that's finished. I don't know, because when I played The Witcher 3, I did all the side quests before getting to the point where it says go back and complete some side quests. So I don't know if that you have to go back and complete it then. But the point being is the side quests were integral to the story, that you connected them, so you cared. Where in this game, the side quests are so separate, realistically, from the main game, that the pace of the main story, that if you go off and do some side quest and you come back and you go, oh yeah, what was going on?
I think we're getting there with Assassin's Creed, because since then I played The Witcher 3, and I was really annoyed when certain choices turned out to be turning how they turned out. Whereas in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the only thing really is that I must have missed something at some point, so Deimos was not with me in the end.
Oh yes,
yes, because we both played with Kassandra, because we've heard that the voice acting wasn't necessarily extraordinary on the male character,
and
right?
it's been confirmed that Kassandra is now canon going forward as the main character.
Well, it's good, because if you watch all the trailers, every time there is a new DLC, it's always Alexios that's in there. That's a bit weird. But now I've seen the latest trailers, the switch between the.
I think I watched some reviews before it came out, and everyone was talking highly of it. It was a great game, so that got me excited, because I remember seeing the E3 trailer and going, okay, this looks, interesting. I'm surprised already we don't have the leak for, although they're not making it, it's probably not even finished yet, because I was like, oh, where's the next one going to be? And they're not making another one next year. It's like going to be the following year. They've taken another year off to do the next one.
Right, but with all the DLCs, the one what just released that we had the occasion to play, they added also I have a video of you discovering who the ghost of Kosmos is.
So this review will mainly just cover the base game and briefly mention the DLC that we've played so far. We might pick up if the game is rapidly changed in the DLC later on, like how we did with Detroit. We did an amendment. Maybe we'll do that, but mainly me and Yann will discuss the base game and what the game was like when we played it. So some of the things we'll talk about that annoyed us, which I'm going to bring up just after this point, is not in the game anymore. It was patched, but when we played, it severely annoyed me. To link on from you saying the Cult of Kosmos, when we picked up the game, there was a character you couldn't kill. It was glitched. You could not find them in the world.
It was stuck in a house or something.
Yeah, one of the minions, it was stuck in the starting location, hadn't spawned out into the world, so we had to wait until a patch was made to actually get that person killed, which is annoying, which is the point of... it seems to be the case with open world games, and especially Ubisoft games, that they just come out unfinished. And it's quite topical now, because people weren't annoyed. I didn't really see any outcry at all that was there, unless you were playing the game. But if you're like Fallout 76, where it doesn't seem to work at all, then that becomes an issue, especially when you're paying like $60 or £40 or like €50, I think is the loose translation. It's like 50 or 60 euros, and depending on what version of the game you get. Those
games are depending also on the version, you get access to the beta, so you've got plenty of people already available to tell you what's working or what's not working anyway.
Yeah.
So first time here, the true RPG feel like the MMO version, obviously World of Warcraft and The Witcher, where you've got choices and questions like the stuff I loved from Detroit. You've got questions, you've got choices, but I don't feel, except that Deimos thing, that I didn't really get a feeling. What I knew is that I wanted Kassandra, and I did it. Well, my Kassandra did it. She slept with approximately one or 2 dozen people.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, this is their first go at the dialogue branch tree idea, which for a first go, it's not bad, actually. I'll give them the credit, because especially with Assassin's Creed being the whole action-adventure game, I guess, of what it was. I mean, this game really embraces that sort of RPG action-adventure sense, where it's like, upgrade all your skills and pick your gear and all of this stuff. The game is enormous. Of Witcher 3 extent, even though The Witcher 3 is super enormous because its 2 subsequent expansion packs are insane. In fact, I don't know if you've played it yet. Blood and Wine is by far might be better than the base game of Witcher 3. Like it's as good as the base game.
I'm in the middle of the first DLC. I think that's
Hearthstone.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Blood of Wine is exceptionally good. It's like it's amazing. Anyway,
Cool.
so hopefully because the DLC is coming out, that it might be like that. However, having played the first episode, because that's how they're doing it, you pay for the full block and then it's released. I don't know if it's weekly or monthly or whatever.
Yeah, they're doing it so that's the first DLC in itself is called Legacy of the First Blade.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 3 episodes that will be released gradually over the course
Right.
of next year.
Okay. I mean, that really worked for Telltale. Because, I mean, that was a disaster. I mean, it was cool in the beginning because it gave them time to complete the game. But eventually you would just wait. Because if you waited till episode 5 of Telltale's game come out, they would sell you the entire series for a reduced price because they would want to sell it. So... I mean, it's a cool idea because they're giving us continual content. I just played the mission that is an added free mission for everyone, where you put on a play of the Battle of 300, and it's not super lengthy, but it's multiple tiers, like multiple tasks that you have to do. So for free content, that's not bad. And obviously, because they're not bringing out a game next year, this is their subsequent. This should have the most content of the entire series because it has to survive an extra year. You
put on a play on 300, like in the game, like a stage play.
So you get
just like in the Witcher 3.
Yeah, you go up to one of the Greek playwrights, and he's putting on a version of the Battle of 300, and you have to collect some wine for the audience and find the actors, and then be in the play and other sorts of things. Stuff happens. It's cool.
Yeah, I remember exactly that in The Witcher 3 when you have to remember your lines.
Oh, great mission. Absolutely great mission. So that's probably an homage in there, yeah. I'm surprised. I am surprised that there's not a character in the Odyssey called Geralt or something like that. Not like an apparent Witcher 3 Easter egg. There might be if nobody's found it yet.
There is a button that I've noticed used either... It's when I'm watching you play that the dodge, but the evading button. You actually need to have it pressed for a while for it to actually like topple over.
The roll.
Yeah, the roll. Or if you just press it quickly, it looks weird.
You like sidestep, really. Yeah. I like how we both did a move of sidestep, then remembered we're on an audio podcast. Oh dear. So
something. Oh yeah, I've noticed in the DLC. I don't think it was the same in the previous one. Now the names, when you don't know the character, it says unknown.
Oh, I didn't even spot that.
Yes,
that's cool.
In Witcher 3, when you activate the subtitles, you don't get the name of characters ever, which is even better because when there is a new one who don't know who he is, but in this game, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, sometimes you had Kassandra, and Kassandra was giving a name, so it's Kassandra. It was like...
I had one of the weirdest spoilers I've ever had in a video game playing this game. In this game, much like The Witcher 3, you can explore like random locations. I went down to do an underwater wreck, where most of the time you get given either like a new ship crew or a new ship apparel or all that sort of stuff. And I picked up one, and the description of the people of the crew spoiled one of the major villains of the game. And I was like, "Oh, come on, really? Why would I know it's petty, but surely you would lock that. Surely that one unlock should be locked behind killing that person, because it would make sense. Because then you could use these people on the ship because you killed their leader, you took them over. But having the game spoiled for me from picking up a cosmetic underwater halfway through the game, I'm like, oh, that's a bit shit."
It's that's sad. It's funny because in the previous one, Origins, I was always wondering, because of the quality is not 4K on PS4, so I wasn't sure why everyone was calling him Magi, but he actually had the badge.
Yeah.
Here she's the eagle bearer, and you actually have to, well, if you're inside or if the eagle is not around, you don't know. In the DLC, the new guy that comes along, he doesn't realize that she's the eagle bearer. So he just has to, well, will they allow you kind of...
I mean, it's funny because I've played both. I played Origins on Xbox One, and I've played this on PS4, and I do know some technical differences between the PlayStation Pro version and the Xbox version. For example, in this game, because I jumped from Xbox last year playing like the optimum, close to PC, but obviously not PC version of the game. When you go up to use Icaros in this game, if you're on the boat and your boat goes too far away, or even if you're on land and you fly too high or further away from you are, the game like loads in again.
Yes, indeed.
On the Xbox, it doesn't do that at all. It's the same in It's the same in Origins. I haven't played the PlayStation version to clarify, but I assume the same thing happens because to do with draw distance. Because that was the thing when you jump into this game as well. I was looking at like the ground, and it was unrendered. It was like quite blocky. I'm like, this is the PlayStation Pro. That says two things to me. That either says that the game is the map itself is so huge that it's trying to render everything at the same time, but obviously doesn't have the processing power that the one has a bit extra, so it's just slowly catching up. Or the game doesn't have all the files, but so it's obviously the first one because of performance, which is the reason why I haven't played Red Dead Redemption on the PlayStation 4. I'm going to buy it on the Xbox One because I've got a high quality gaming console and a 4K TV, so I want to experience it at the best quality that I can get it.
Well, it's funny because it's actually watching you that I realized that I even didn't do that with Origins, use the bird to tag people.
Because of the loadout times?
No, because, being inside Icarus for a while, at some point I noticed that's what you're just talking about.
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it?
But I never used that feature for this, except harass people in Origins.
Yeah.
So, it's a key feature, obviously.
It is annoying. But at the same time, it's minor. I mean, there are other things to be more annoyed at in this game. The major one that everybody that plays this game, right, I repeat, do not buy the permanent upgrade boost. Don't give the company that extra money, because if we do it, they're just going to put it in every single game. The fact that is on the first menu of the store, if you click up featured, it's on that page. Because the game, cheekily, this is really cheeky, when you complete like the first chapter of the game, so the opening, it gives you 203 premium credits.
Helix points, yeah.
Yeah, they go, here's some Helix points, go to the store. Because they want you then to pick up the XP boost so that you can play further through the game quicker. And it's just annoying because that's why the game at some places feels so lethargic, because you're having to do multiple quests or multiple locations to just keep up with the story. There's no option. I maybe, unlike God of War that had the option to play just the story, and the XP didn't really matter because you could just kill everyone with basic combos, which is the way you experienced the game for the first time, if I'm not mistaken. You played just the story the first time round.
Yeah.
There's no way for this. I don't think that on easy mode you get more XP or the XP is lower.
Now this one is has definitely a World of Warcraft of a grinding feel.
Yeah, definitely.
And full disclosure, because I was out of all the God of War and Detroit that I've played many hours. I wasn't ready to spend that many hours, so I got the boost.
Did you buy the XP boost?
Yes.
How did it change the game for you then?
Well, I was starting to realize that I needed to grind and go do a lot of side quests to actually continue the quests that were reaching the level I was at.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it will take hours. So I just went to get the boost, and then it was easy.
So did you think that? So you never really, after buying the boost, ever really had to touch any of the side stuff?
No.
Not at all?
No.
No, that's quite interesting, actually.
Yeah, no, I pretty much got this, and but that's they also had the Helix.
All right, keep going. I'm just plugging my headphones back in.
Yeah. They also had the Helix system in Origins, which I didn't use because I was not invested in the game.
I'm sure they had an XP boost in that one as well. It might not be as prominent, but they definitely had like extra skins, like for your horse, different weapons, all that sort of stuff, which is in this game as well.
Yeah, of course, but I get the point. It's annoying. You paid £70 or €80, and then there is the season pass. Well, which I actually purchased the ultimate version, so it was.
You get that with it, yeah.
It's included, but still, if you just want to play the basic game,
the only thing you didn't get was the statue, the Kassandra or Alexios statue.
Yeah.
Which I found a website that sells a lot of these collector's things because they don't sell them all. It's where I got my Christmas jumper that will debut on a later podcast. It should come tomorrow, actually.
Oh. Yeah, but I didn't. I forgot what my point was.
So you didn't spend. Well, did you spend the extra Helix points they gave you apart from buying the boost? Did you spend anything else?
So basically, I purchased 1,000 points, I think.
Right.
And
how much was that?
I think it must have paid like €15.
€15.
And it allowed me to get the on the map to have all the all the stuff that you need, like the
right. So you bought the map reveal and you bought the XP boost.
Yes.
Right. For €15 together.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And I still have some additional points. I think
right.
I got the a horse or something. But that's. But it's basically that's it. It was not always like this. World of Warcraft vanilla. But now you can, even with gold, in-game gold, if you redeem that for a token that you can purchase, you can basically have month of game for free if you use gold.
Yeah.
And you can buy pets and...
Oh, yeah, because World of Warcraft is a subscription game. Is it still a subscription game you pay monthly?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, that's
amazing that sort of style still exists in gaming, actually, because I even remember back at when I was younger, when Warcraft sort of came out again, and you were like, you had to pay to keep playing this game? Like, that was such a foreign concept to me as a kid, because I played lots of PS2 games and DS and PSP and all these, like, and Xbox and all these games that you just bought the game and that was it. You know, you didn't get DLC back then, or it was when it was rare and the whole thing was there. You know, and you just had this one piece of content. It might have been a bit pricey, but you bought it and you had the whole thing to play. So the idea of paying monthly for a game, that was kind of weird to me, but obviously it works and it makes money because people are still playing it.
And you've got yearly expansions that you also have to pay.
Yeah. Well, I guess that kind of makes sense because for the cost of developing the game, you know, for making that content does actually cost money. But here it's stuff that should be in the game. The idea that you have to pay to level up in a way that you could play the story consecutively is a bit outrageous.
It's a pay-to-win kind of.
Yeah,
it feels like it, but
it's imagine that in God of War. Imagine if you could pay £8 to kill the Valkyries. It's like, we'll give you like a weapon that it gives you plus times double bonus damage against Valkyries.
I mean, if it's in a MMORPG, that's a bit unfair for those who.
Yeah.
But if in a single player, I mean, like there are some people who they do on old games speed runs.
Yeah.
Or there is a guy on World of Warcraft who was level, I think, what was it? So there was at one point there were always the Alliance and the Horde. At some point the Pandaren came and they started at the level. They started early, and they had to choose. Yeah, no, they had to choose a faction at some point.
Right.
There is a guy who stayed on the island forever, so he managed to reach the maximum level while staying neutral.
Yeah, that's quite good.
So people, they give themselves so small challenges from time to time. But I mean, if it's a single player thing, and if it's clear to anyone and you're enjoying yourself more by not spending, it's for casual players, obviously, not spending 10 hours on something that you could power through.
The same thing happened in Shadow of War, which is the Warner, I think it's Warner Brothers again, who made the Batman series of game. They got really big flack for the microtransactions in Shadow of War because it's a single player game, and it's the same thing here. In Shadow of War, that doesn't exist in the game anymore. As of July this year, they took that entire feature out of the game because people hated it so much. Because the idea was that in Shadow of War, this is relevant because the same feature exists in this game. The orcs were like your nemesis, so you would fight them and they would keep coming back, and you would develop these relationships with different orcs. But you could buy them in a store. You could buy orcs that had special buffs and all these interesting things that were not in the game or were harder to get in the game, or different weapons and all this stuff that didn't need to be bought that should have been in the game. And it's almost like, because this game borrows something that's heavily influenced by the Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor games, the mercenary system, which is essentially a watered-down version of it because they don't come back. They get replaced by different people. And also, if you kill one of them, you get given a note about a new one, so it'll reveal somebody else on the map, much like in Shadow of War, gaining intel through orcs and stuff like that. So that style of gameplay has had an effect on that in the action-adventure games, but unfortunately, the microtransactions have also had an effect because companies can now make more money out of players. I mean, look at Fortnite, where you can buy like extra cosmetics. As much as cosmetics are, I guess it's annoying because that all used to be stuff that you could unlock for completing the game. Much like God of War. If you complete the whole of God of War on Give Me God of War mode, they give you different covers for the shield. And then also in New Game Plus, they give you new suits and new armor sets as well, which is how you do it. Just developers, look at what God of War did and do that. There's a reason it won Game of the Year.
The thing is that I also observed this in apps. There's something that is changing clearly, the models. I was trying to find a way, an app to transform multi-different shaped pictures into squares to put on Instagram directly.
Right, okay.
I tried 4 of them, and the payment wasn't as it was even 2 years ago, one-time payment. No. Now it's a monthly or a yearly subscription.
Well, there's a good sort of like meditation app. This isn't BetterHelp, by the way, for anyone going. He's not going to plug BetterHelp, is he? No. Anouk's got a great story. I think Anouk got done in by BetterHelp because she got it and it did the whole thing where it like takes your first month from you. And she cancelled it immediately afterwards. She's like, this is outrageous. But both of us have a meditation app called Headspace, which is the same idea as much as Tinder is. You can pay, you get a block of stuff for free, and if you want like extra like meditations for like sleep, advanced sleep stuff or happiness or different like specific genres, you pay like either you can pay monthly, you can pay yearly, you could pay forever. But paying forever is like an extortionate. So it's like something like £600 or something like that if you want lifetime membership or whatever. So that just seems to be the model of way things are going. I mean, ever since Tinder did it, for those of us that remember when Tinder was free and you got unlimited swipes, and then they introduced the whole you get certain amount of swipes in 12 hours. And then if you want unlimited, you have to buy gold and stuff like that. And
also, well, it's a smart thing to do on their part because
I agree.
It's so easy now. I went to see when I went to see John McPhail's first film, Where Do We Go From Here? There was Emma and Laura, and Emma was like, well, I started to walk now because checking my taxi receipts on the bank was really okay, it's so easy. You don't realize it.
No, you don't. I agree.
You have a week or even more sneaky, a month trial, and then once the month is passed, you completely forgot you had it.
Of course you do. Yeah. I did the same thing when I had my appendix out this year. I treated myself. I said, I know what, I'll get myself the free trial for the PlayStation Now streaming thing, so I can play like the old God of War because I'm going to be stuck in a chair for like 4 weeks. So I got the week trial. I then forgot to turn it off, and I got charged for the month. I'm like, oh, God's sake, I forgot to turn it off. You do forget, which is why I've done this multiple times. I'll like buy the Xbox Game Pass when it's always reduced, and as soon as I buy it, I go immediately on and cancel it.
That's what.
That's the only way you'll remember, because if you do it right then, you will remember to do it, because you forget otherwise.
Yeah, that's what I do for App Store trials. Yeah, immediately.
Yeah, you have to, because it's in your head.
Yeah, there is, in terms of mythology, Greek mythology, we've got some mythical creatures in there.
I'm obsessed with, as much as you're obsessed with Egypt, I'm obsessed now with, and this wasn't because of this game, this was because of, I bought Stephen Fry's Mythos, and then subsequently this year I bought Stephen Fry's Heroes, which are both excellent books if you're into, or even if you're not into Greek mythology, if you're into storytelling, pick these up, because I thought, Greek myth, it's too much, it's too... Maybe I can't, because I got obsessed because of God of War, like, oh, these are really cool gods. And then from that, I got into Mythos, and I was like, wow, the Greek stuff is really interesting. And the books are done in a way that is so accessible to anyone. They're told, and there's not the only, even the names you remember, because it doesn't matter. It even goes on in Heroes about, is it Heracles or is it Hercules? It doesn't really matter, because obviously in Greece, and even in this game, they pronounce characters' names, like, say, Sophocles or Hippocrates, because we would say it like we would say it differently, because we think, oh, that's how that would sound, because we look at the words in both English and in French. You would look at the translations and stuff.
They do intense research for those games.
Yeah, and so I got into those, and from that I was obsessed with like Greek myths, like the story of Zeus, or the war against the Titans. The birth of humanity with Prometheus, and all these, and even then with the heroes, with Jason and the Argonauts, and the trials of Heracles, and Atalanta, which is a female hunter that basically shows up all of these men trying to hunt this dangerous boar, and all these great heroes that I'm like, obviously, like Perseus from Clash of the Titans, if we look up like from film, because we're a film podcast, all these great heroes and gods that we could like, we're gonna get these, and then the game misses the party. The game is in the Peloponnesian War between the Spartans and the Athenians, which in itself never really plays out in the game at all in the story sense. It's just happening at the time, and I just feel that we missed.
Yeah, you've got conquest battles, but they're pointless. We
missed the party. You know, how fun would it be if because the game plays that you are a demigod. You're like Heracles. You're like Jason. You're like one of these heroes that just has something about them. I'm like, how cool would it be if you met like Jason, and you were one of the Argonauts. You know, you went on the quest for the fleece, or you even, to bring it back to your point, you were captured. You were one of the people that went over with Theseus, because in the story of Theseus, when he goes to the kingdom to fight the Minotaur, he is part of the several tributes that have to be sent over to appease the king, Creon, because they sent several men, because it was to feed. It was like I think it was 12. I think it is 12. I might be wrong. 12 for some reason. Rings a bell. It's either 12 or 10, because 10 is a thing for the gods, the dodecahedron of the gods, or something like that. Anyway, it's one of these numbers. If you were one of them and you were sent over, and you, contrary to the myth, you went in first and actually beat the Minotaur, or you and Jason went in and he escaped one way and you went the other way, you know, there would have been so much to play with in there. But in this game, they go for something different, which I feel is kind of it's not their fault. It's their decision to go that way, and the game is still perfectly fun, and you do great things. But for me, I would love to have got that interaction with these heroes, and that brings you on to your points. You're talking about the mythical beasts that you fight.
Yeah, I mean, and also the animals that Hercules had to fight, like the Nemean lion.
The Nemean lion, the Emilian boar. You know, there's loads. There's the Lycantian wolf. The bull, there's one bull. It might be the Criterion bull. I'm terrible with pronouncing the name, so I apologize to any scholars or any Greek lovers. I love the language, but I'm so bad with pronunciation. I'm so bad.
To any of those animals, it's not personal.
Sorry.
No, and obviously the creatures. So we've got Gorgon, the
We get Medusa. We get
Medusa,
We
yeah.
get Medusa. We get the Cyclops. We get
Minotaur.
We get our Minotaur, and we get what's the other one you fight? Oh yeah, the Sphinx, which was that wasn't Jason. That was somebody else. Who was it that was?
That was the Oedipus story.
Oedipus, yeah. That's because he gets there. Oh no, Medea is in Jason. I always think that
Medusa and
Oedipus is with Medea, but Medea is with Jason. But the granddaughter of it's granddaughter of do you know who the granddaughter of Oedipus was? If I say Greek play.
Yeah. I've got there was
Antigone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the trilogy.
Okay.
The plays about Oedipus. The last part is Antigone.
I thought that was the other one, Agamemnon, but anyway.
Yeah. That's Electra.
Yeah, Electra. That's the one.
You're thinking of the Zinni Harris thing we saw, the Restless House. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
and I started with the Minotaur, but I went there, and it's nice because you had this little text in red. Oh, he's like 5 levels above you. Are you sure you want to go there? And I did Medusa last, which was the easiest, I believed. It took me ages hiding behind pillars.
Yeah, it does take a while, but she's not that hard to actually fight.
No.
The Sphinx was quite fun because it was different. You have to solve the riddles. But I don't know. I mean, they were fun, but it's like because we have the Trials of Hercules, all essentially, which is the Temple of Artemis quest, the Daughters of Artemis quest, where you go off and hunt. I don't think it's 12. I think it's 10. It's either 10 or 12 again. Numbers.
8, I think.
8?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because me and you watched me struggle for about 3 hours fight the first boar, and then every other villain, every other animal in the game is easy except the last fight is another boar, and you're like, oh, for God's sake.
Oh wait, but there is actually something that I first noticed a while ago in the MMORPG Terra. The regions they are adapting depending on your level.
Yeah, so you get to the base level that you need to be in that area, and then it'll just go up the same level as you go on. So the game, there's no area that you could just go to and you'll just kill everyone with one shot, which I quite like, actually. Which is different from Origins, because in Origins that was its own mode. You were in Nightmare mode, which was the hardest difficulty. The enemies scaled with you.
That's something I did, and I used to do before each new expansion of World of Warcraft. I only killed 2 or 3 beasts to get the new arrows thingy.
Yeah, the death arrows, yeah.
Yes, and I stopped until the DLC came, so that the XP was not wasted.
Yeah.
So now I still need to
Turns out that in the update, if you had got more XP after 50, it would carry on. Like, they saved it. Like, it was just sitting, it would be banked.
Oh.
And when you came on, it would carry on. So if you had done all the stuff in the game, like everything, you'd done every side quest, you'd done every boar, you'd done every single thing, and you'd gone past 50. When the game updated with the release of the DLC, you would get extra levels.
That's fascinating to me. I don't think it's ever been done. Well, not
no. They've done some good things with the update, and it's the update isn't just when you buy the DLC. It's when you put the game in now, you will get that update. It gives you the ability to choose your own armor. So essentially, as long as you're wearing a piece of armor, you will get that buff. But you can press the square or the X button, depending on what console you're on, or whatever the button is on PC. I don't know. And you can choose like an aesthetic. So you can wear, if you're a fan of like some of the legendary armor you've got, you can wear that. Or if you like the old fashioned, like, I don't know, like the Athenian breastplate, you can choose a style, and you'll still have the buffs in the armor that you are wearing underneath.
That's a new word I learned when I discovered this in World of Warcraft. It's called transmogrification. Transmog. Yeah, nice. The ability to, that's quite interesting concept. They added, you have mastery levels now.
Yeah, they are set. So if you get past 50, a new box appears on the upgrade level, and essentially you can just put a skill point into a permanent engraving. So the game added engraving, which is whenever you pick up a weapon, if it's legendary or epic or rare. So as long as it's not a basic weapon, you'll get an engraving at the bottom. I might even be only on the further up ones. I don't know, but you can choose that effect and put it on any weapon, or you can put extra ones onto the ones you've already got. So you can say if you particularly like a sword that has the ability to upgrade your damage with arrows, you can take that ability and put it on another weapon, because as long as you get it, you can copy it over to another weapon. The mastery skills are essentially that big list of all these abilities, and every time you get a new level, you can choose a ranged ability or an assassinate or a warrior, and you can choose what you want better. So if you play arrow wise, you can upgrade your base arrow damage or your fire arrows or whatever. I personally, because I like Assassin's Creed, I just put them into the assassinate ability so that I can immediately kill people. Because that did annoy me about this game, that you can't really assassinate people. They do say there are 3 ways you can play the game, but realistically, there is 2 ways that you can do damage, and then 1 way that you have to kill everyone, which is fighting them with the sword or a hammer or a javelin or whatever you use.
I don't know if there is a cap on those mastery levels, because basically now the new level cap is 70, is it?
Something like that. You can put, on every ability, you can put 20 points into it.
Right.
So
there
in
is
theory, you can go on and on and on until you've got 20 of all the abilities.
Are we sure? Because 50 to 70, I mean, because I'm thinking of the Paragon system on Diablo 3, which is basically once you've reached 70, so the max, you continue to accumulate experience, but it's for Paragon level, and there is no cap on that. I've seen people with level 70 Paragon 9,000.
It's not like that, but I reckon it'll still be, you can fill the bar, but instead of going up a numbered level, you can put another point into an ability somewhere. Probably. Because it's not online, it doesn't really matter, because you're only fighting, AI. So I could see how that would be an issue if you were playing like, it's like in Call of Duty. I don't know if you ever played.
No.
In Call of Duty, you prestige. So when you get to the max level, you prestige, and then you become prestige 1, and you do it all again, and you go further up, and it's just like bragging rights, really. Like, you get a new emblem, and if you're in people like, oh my god, he's prestige 10, level 70, like that's the maximum you could go on, like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2.
Okay, and here the AC Odyssey, it's pretty a bit like the Diablo one. They added a new you pointed out to me, which is the Death Veil.
Yeah, it's an ability if you assassinate somebody using either the blade or the like shadow chain move, which is you throw your spear and then kill them. If you kill them, they will vanish. The body will not be there.
Yeah, and can't be found, obviously.
Which is slightly annoying in a way. If you play the game, like say you would kill somebody and then you'd pick up the body and then put it in the corner, and then if they found it, they would all be on the other corner and you could sneak round and like bob into the other side. But essentially, it's just you can kill somebody and they'll vanish and you won't be seen. So for the super sneaky Assassin's Creed players that like to never be seen, there's this ability in there too, which is quite good.
Well, and if you know that it's a bit not really realistic, but when you know that when you reach level 20, you're able to jump without damage.
Yeah, that was a bit. I think at that point, I went, this is no longer Assassin's Creed, and I think I came to terms with that at that point, because I was like, one of the things that because it's funny, I played a bit of Red Dead after this, and if you like fall off your horse, you take damage. So from jumping off like the Acropolis and taking no damage to like just tripping over your own shoes in the Wild West and taking damage was quite a jump. But I mean, that kind of gave the level of like parkour ability. Like I remember in Assassin's Creed 2 up to Unity and Syndicate and even Origins, there was a level of skill that you had to be proficient at the exploration, because the game itself was a bit finicky. Like you would sometimes jump the wrong direction and die, which was annoying, but it made you better at climbing. You realized what you could climb up. And in Origins, you could climb up basically anything. There was hardly anything you couldn't climb. But you just had to be careful when coming down because you would take damage, which gave it quite a like level of skill almost. And the fact that that's gone, Although it's not totally gone, because before you get to that level, you do take damage, so it is there. It would have been quite nice if you could toggle that, for more difficult players. You could toggle fall damage on and off if you wanted.
If you're on the horse, you're still the horse has issues, except if you actually purchase Pegasus
or the unicorn, which is in the game. The unicorn doesn't take fall damage either.
Cool,
which is what I use.
I think there should be a balance between what we get in this, and they have memes on the internet because of this. The full damage on The Witcher 3.
Yeah, jump over a fence, you're dead. yeah, it's annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, it's annoying.
The only thing you don't take damage from is if you fall in water. Because I did, in Skellige, if you go up to like the castle on the hill, I would jump off the bridge into the water, and you wouldn't take any damage. But if you just fell off your horse, you would probably take damage in that game as well. No, what did you think about the boat? The Adestra.
Well, I think so it's funny that I'm still doing a lot of random on this.
Yeah, me too. I've not done a lot of the side quest at all, really.
No, but I mean the actual features of the ship. I mostly use the I don't know. I press buttons randomly, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm sending bombs or whatever.
Yeah. It's like it does feel like a really stripped back version of what Black Flag was. Because in Black Flag, you could either drop like fire kegs behind you that could blow up ships chasing you. You could use chain shots that only did damage to the sail, so they couldn't get away from you. You had a mortar thing that you could fire from ships that are much farther away. So there was like loads of different abilities that you could specialize in if you wanted to play a certain way. Where in this one, there isn't. You can either use a javelin, which is just your essential broadside cannons, like fire straight at the other person that's close to you, or arrows, which are the same thing, do less damage, but can hit further away, and not that much further away.
Well, it's a great way to get mats quite quickly.
Sorry, get what?
Materials.
Oh, materials.
Like, yeah, quite quickly. Yeah.
But in that sense, the materials are only ever used for the bolt or your arrows. After that, you don't use them at all. I just felt I loved the boat, and when I was playing today, a lot of the time you would use the boat to get places. But I feel that it's weird to say this because the map is so big. It doesn't really feel like there's anywhere to use the boat because nothing happens out at sea. Whereas in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, did you play a lot of Black Flag? Did you really enjoy the pirate one?
I had the app on the phone. And
the ability you had that you could just like stop the ship. You could either hunt whales or sharks or whatever, or just get off and explore like islands, the tiny little islands that were about that had maybe like a couple of parkour stuff to do. Like there was a challenge, you would chase the sea shanty sort of thing.
Yeah.
In this game, they do have like the underwater caverns to explore, but they're all kind of the same, and they're not as enjoyable because of you can just use the bird. You use Icarus, you see where the chests are, you go down, grab the chest, you leave. That's all you do. You don't really look at anything.
No, so it's funny because about the traveling with the boat. So there is obviously something that I only realized watching you play, which was way after I started to play. Obviously, on the maps, sometimes you have white ships. So when you go physically there, you press and then it calls your ship.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. So every time I actually traveled from one place to another.
Yeah, so you would be like, oh, I have to go back to wherever I left the ship, which would be like in the middle of the ocean somewhere.
Yes.
Where did I lose that? There it is. For audio listeners, I keep sitting on my headphone cable, so ripping my headphones out. Yeah, I mean, I like I do like the ship. I like the idea because I came late to Black Flag. I missed it, and I got it when I got my first version of the Xbox One with Unity, and it was great fun. The whole sailing around the ship. The one thing I do wish was in the game, like that game, if they were going to not replace anything, like recycle something, surely the songs. The fact that you sing maybe like I think it's like 3 or 4. There's not a lot. To be fair, that's probably because we don't have many ancient Greek songs. We don't have, as actors and lovers of plays, we know that we do not have a lot of the ancient Greek texts. You know, we lost hundreds of plays from the antiquity because they just weren't kept. You know, famously, when kingdoms took over different areas, depending on the way they did it or how that kingdom kept tablets. Well, I'll use, for example, the I think it's the Assyrians, or the library at Nineveh is a famous library because that's where we found one of the first ever recorded pieces of writing. It's where kind of the first story is ever found. This is in the book that I'm reading, the 7 Basic Plots. And I found out subsequently the reason that was kept is because that kingdom, they wrote all their stories on tablets. And when the kingdom that conquered them came to rule them, they burnt down the library. And because they burnt it down, the writing was baked into the clay, so it was preserved forever. So in that way, we kept that story. But because Greek plays and stuff were probably just written on parchment, or whatever we had back in the ancient Greece, because it might not even been paper. I don't think it would have been paper yet. It would have been on something. We just didn't restore it. It's the same case with the Great Library of Alexandria. When it was burnt down, we lost all the stuff that was there as well. Humans
never learn. 80% of all the silent cinema is lost.
Yeah, of course, because they just tape over it. Famously, a lot of Monty Python, the original stuff was burnt taped over. You know, John Cleese talks about that if you ever watch him in Conversations going, I've just found some stuff on rolls of film because they were clearing out the archives and going, oh, we found this, because it was so expensive to buy a new film. They would just tape over old stuff. Famously, in Britain, we had a black and white comedy series called The Likely Lads, which you can't see. There was a follow-up series called Whatever Happened to the Likely Lads later on, which was not on... If it was on film, at that point, they had ways of actually keeping it, because I think it was like the 70s or the end of the 60s, so they weren't using film. But it was a follow-up to that series, but we can't ever see the original because they had it on film and they taped over it. So that's totally lost. And it's the case that...
Some Doctor Who episodes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some of the old Doctor Who's will be gone with you know, the original Doctor Who's.
The vast majority of George Méliès's work, or George Méliès as they call him.
Julien Méliès.
He did more than 600 shorts and... barely 300 are left.
It is crazy. I mean, I know people sometimes complain about how digital film has changed the way filmmaking is made. You know, there is a complete... the good example of this, if you watch the Florida projects, there are scenes that are shot digitally and there are scenes that are shot on 35 millimeter, I believe, and it shows width because obviously there's more exposure and stuff with the film you've got, so it shows it makes it look bigger, so it's like it's what we would see if we were children. It's what the children see because everything looks bigger, like the rides and stuff like that.
Wasn't the whole point of Tangerine and the follow-up, the Florida project, the fact that they were filmed on iPhone?
I think that's Tangerine. If it's not the Florida project, it's something else. I might have got it wrong, Florida project, but it's a film about these kids living near Disneyland. I think it is the Florida project, but I could be wrong.
No, they added the anamorphic lens on the phone.
Right.
But I don't know.
Well, basically, they have two different shots. One is that's wider, so it's like what the kids would see.
Okay.
The snobbery in that. But because things are kept digitally, there is a copy of it somewhere. For example, I know people will complain about piracy of film online, which is an issue, but don't forget, without piracy, we don't have Nosferatu. If it was not for somebody stealing a copy of Nosferatu and sending it away from Germany, that film would be lost to us. So, you know.
I mean, there was a lost generation of media, the whole video thing, because most of the series in the 80s were filmed on tape, but video, and except a few, just like Quantum Leap it was on 35 millimeters, so now it just takes a scan, and you can get 4K, and you can get whatever you want.
The one thing that I know some people do fear technology, but if technology advances and we're able to preserve history, I think that is important. I think there's a reason books are still around, because it's a form that it works, and people are used to it for so long that the idea of having a book will probably forever exist. I don't think books will ever become extinct, because they're so memorable.
Except if you end up, is that in Fahrenheit 451, the people who learn the books by heart thingy?
Yeah.
Because the books are forbidden. Yeah, but except dystopian.
Dystopian futures where books are banned or music is banned if you watch We Will Rock You. So we've mentioned the boat. We've mentioned the main quest. Oh yeah, ending wise. We won't really spoil anything because, if you want to play the game and experience the story, it's fair enough. But the game doesn't end. Honestly, the game doesn't end or what I mean by that is the game keeps going, but because of that, narratively wise, it kind of just stops. So you get to the end and you're presented with a dilemma about your family, and depending on choices you've made in the game, it'll go one way. The best option, you get a lot of new people for your boat, and that's it. That's quite a good way to sum up that without spoiling what actually happens. I'm quite proud I've done that. But that's kind of the conclusion to the entire Odyssey that you've been playing. And there's no... I don't know if this happens or not. Is there ever a point in the game where the credits start? Does it start after the... Maybe it does start when you finish the family thing. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah,
it was a while ago. I think it might be there, but...
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either, but...
And it isn't the end of the game, because it doesn't address the present day stuff, which we've avoided because it's barely in the game. But, there's the stuff with the cult that you go after, and there's an ending with that, which is quite cheap and annoying, but whatever. And then you have the mythical beasts that you kill as well.
And Atlantis thing.
Yeah, the Atlantis.
That is foreshadowing what's to come in a DLC.
Maybe there'll be an ending there. Maybe. I'm hoping, because the game just sort of just stops, and it's like, all right, you're done with the main quest, go and do some side stuff now. Which is good, because a lot of the side quests, I have to give it to Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed side quests have been hit or miss for a long time. The ones in Syndicate, I really like Syndicate as a game. I quite like the setting and the characters as well. So there's some good side quests in there. Origins kind of had some okay-ish side quests, but they weren't super involved because the story was the main focus. Here, the side stuff is clearly built to accompany the game not having an ending, so there's loads of stuff to do when you finish. I don't know how long I've played, probably like 80 plus hours, and I don't think I've done half of the side quests, so, they're there for me to do.
Yeah. Do we have points that we are missing?
Anything else? Personally, for me, sometimes when I play a game, if the game isn't gripping me in a way, I'll listen to like podcasts or, music or watch YouTube videos while playing it. I did find myself doing a lot of that with this game, whereas I didn't do that with God of War. Or if I did do that with God of War, it was after I'd finished the game the first time.
I do the same thing.
And I'm trying to work out why I do that. I think maybe it's to do with the game not gripping you fully. I guess maybe, or it's just nothing happening at that point. It was when cutscenes would happen, I'd turn it off and listen to that. But and even then, I was like skipping through cutscenes. I'd like hear the gist of the dialogue, or I would read the subtitles, skip next, skip next, skip next. So I don't know if that affected. And I'm kind of sad that Anouk didn't get to experience this game, but I understand why, because it's so long. And a lot, I would say about 40% of my playthrough is not actual story content. It's a lot of going about, doing side stuff, sailing the boat, exploring different areas, gathering XP, having to go and hunt down some more ships because I need some more arrows, and hunting the boars and all that kind of stuff. So if you're looking for something that you're going to get really good time out of, this is where to go. Or Red Dead Redemption, even though I've not played it yet, but apparently it's huge. Especially because it's got online. That'll be supported until the next GTA comes out, probably. Because even GTA 5 is still getting supported with extra DLC, and they've moved on to Red Dead Redemption. So.
Well, there is a GTA Online.
Yeah, the thing is, though, when GTA 5 came out, or even before that, they stopped doing content for GTA 4, which came out much earlier. So I'm curious to see when Rockstar stop supporting GTA 5 and go straight over to Red Dead Redemption. Although I know why, because both God fucking hell, GTA 5 is on Xbox 360, PS3, Xbox One, and PS4. It's on both generations, the online stuff. So they're probably making double the money, because if people haven't jumped over yet, they can still make the money there. Anything else about this game I've not mentioned that I should mention? I mentioned the game some of the game didn't work. No, I think I'm good. I think I'm ready to go into the rating.
Let's go.
So, Yann, what do you think of this game? Was it good, bad, or just plain standard?
Well, I would say it was okay. I don't regret playing it, but I'm not. It's not keeping me awake at night. Whereas
God of War,
The
Witcher, yeah.
The Witcher 3 is the
You live and breathe that game. I had that experience, like, I want to go back and play this. I was the same with Alien Isolation as well. Like, me and Anouk had such a great time playing Alien Isolation. With this game, it's difficult because I like what it does and I had fun playing it. But because I've been playing it again, I'm like, this is quite fun. I can't be that harsh on it, because I remember coming away finishing it and going, I don't really know if I enjoyed that or not, because there was so much to do. I can't remember my emotions the whole way through. So like I said, if you're looking for something that you're going to get a lot of time out of, because I know video games at the moment it is a pricey medium. So if you're looking for a full package of stuff to do, pick this up, because you'll be with it for about probably a year, especially if you're not just playing it full time all the time, like putting like 4 or 6 hours into a playthrough. Like you just play it when you come home from work or school or whatever. You're going to have a long playtime with this game, so that's good value for money, so that's a positive. However, the whole shady atmosphere of putting in the XP boost is a bit annoying to me, and the whole marketplace thing, because I'm an advocate of cosmetics, and I know there are cosmetics in the game that you can unlock. I just feel that cosmetics should be in the game. You know, you unlock them for doing like more difficult things, like complete the game on the hardest mode, complete the game without dying, all these sort of kind of crazy achievements that you used to be able to get should reward you as well. But having said that, it's a good game. I just wish I'm looking for a game that's with the heroes of ancient Greek myth. But it is fun. I don't know if it's Assassin's Creed, because you can't really assassinate people unless you use an ability to like do extra damage. So as an action adventure RPG, this is not bad. This is pretty good.
I'm curious.
It's playable. It's enjoyable. I would continue playing the DLC. I'm curious to see where it goes.
I'm curious to see what they will do with their Skull and Bones.
Yes, that was that when I was playing the stuff with the boat in this, I'm like, yeah, I do want a game. I am curious to see what they do with that pirate game, because although there wasn't a lot to do with the boat, obviously, because you're not a pirate, you're not hunting down quests, you're not collecting treasure or whatever. The boat is incredibly fun. So yeah, that was us doing a two-handed one episode on a video game that Anouk didn't play. Yeah. I felt this went quite well for just the two of us. We had a lot to say.
Yeah.
So this is good.
And to be sure that we don't lock this episode in the schedule, we will stop there. I won't add anything.
Cool. Yeah, we'll. I'll tell you what. Just for the fun of it, have you seen the YouTube Rewind yet?
Yes.
It's terrible, isn't it? I don't know what it's now the highest disliked video of all time.
I've read some people analyzing that thing is that now it's no longer, now it's a calling card for advertisers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's what it became. So
I watched a good video that was somebody had just put them all together in like from 2013 or 2012 onwards, and you could see the shift in like from sort of like creators to just advertising material basically. I saw that people were going to Justin Bieber's baby video, which was the most disliked, and if they had disliked it, undisliked it, so that it would drop down and the YouTube Rewind would go up.
But it nice. It makes sense that they take this approach, because now they have YouTube Premium, so they have stuff to sell. So
Yeah, although there wasn't I don't know, because there was nobody from, like, say, one of the most successful series, which was Cobra Kai. Surely if they were going to go for, like, hey, there's YouTube Red, they would have some of the people that were in the YouTube Red series. I mean, they didn't have Logan Paul and Jake Paul for obvious reasons.
that's a good point. Yeah.
So I don't know. So it's curious. We'll see what happens if there will be one next year. I'm highly suspicious if there will be after this reaction. Or next year if people should make their own. Get a group of YouTubers to put some money together and go, let's just make our own one, and then have a competition to it. That would be quite healthy to see the difference between corporate YouTube and actual YouTube creators. So yeah.
Thank you for watching, listening.
Yeah,
as
cheers.
Usual, and we'll see you around for something
Some
else
other
quickly.
episode. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Oh, we were.
Oh, Adam.
And Yann.
And Yann.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Thank you for listening to another episode of The Good, The Bad, and The Just Plain Standard podcast. If you like what you heard, you can leave us a review via iTunes. If you want to keep up to date with what we're doing, you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Good, Bad, Standard Podcast on both platforms. If you fancy seeing the live streams that we talk about on the podcast, they can be found on youtube.com. You search for Milk in a Wine Glass. There are other bits and bobs on there too, just to see what Yann's up to during the week. And if you really like us, like really, really like us, why don't you head on over to patreon.com/goodbadstandardpodcast and have a look if you want to support us. Any small donation is appreciated.